Welcome to Moving Forward, sponsored by MPW Mocklink TV and Mocklink Internet, online at mpw.org. Each weekday morning, our local talk segment brings you the people who are helping move our community forward. Let's start the show.
Good morning, AM 860 and FM 95.1 KWPC. I'm Jordan Davis. Thanks for joining us here in the studio this morning. Glad to have you once again. This is brought to you by Muscatine Power and Water. Say hello to Mocklink Phone, your new local phone company. Fiber customers get it now. Switching is easy, and you can keep your old number. Learn more at mpw.org. Again, I'm Jordan Davis. Thanks for joining us here in the studio for Moving Forward. And joining me in the studio is Bob Stone from Family Resources. How are you today, Bob?
I'm doing very well, Jordan. Thanks for having us on the show.
We're really glad to have you on the show. And we just want to talk a little bit about what Family Resources does. You guys are an important member of our community and other communities as well. And what you do is important work. So let's kick it off. Can you give us a brief overview of what Family Resources is in case folks don't know?
Sure. Family Resources has been serving the Muscatine area since 1969. We're located at 801 Oregon Street. And we moved just about a year ago. And we moved so that we would have facilities that were more accessible to people. We do a lot of, I'm with the volunteer program. There's two of us. Kaylee Bashaw is the coordinator for General Volunteer Services. I specialize in survivor services. Our programs that we have at Family Resources, mostly working with survivors, at least for my part. We have the on-call for survivors of sexual abuse and for domestic violence. We also have, in Muscatine, Engaging Males, a mentorship program to help youth at risk. We also have survivor program of homicide and other violent crimes, and also human trafficking.
And that, I actually just had a conversation with someone yesterday that about human trafficking, and they had no idea that kind of thing was happening here in the United States, but it's huge. It's what the last time I read, it's like a $32 billion industry across the world, and then a large portion of that here in the United States. But so that's a big deal that you guys are focusing on stuff like that too, because there some of these things are really hard to talk about. A lot of the things that I'm sure you guys deal with on a daily basis, trying to help folks as they move through this kind of thing. Now, you said you're a survivor resource. Can you say what it is again?
I'm a volunteer coordinator for Survivor Services.
Survivor Services, okay.
We use the word survivor. Some people, just in common everyday speaking, would think of someone who's been a victim of assault, a victim of human trafficking, or a victim of domestic violence. But we use the word survivor. I think it's an important word to acknowledge with people. It helps them in their journey with recovery.
Absolutely, because being called a victim is that's a big difference from being called a survivor. So that's really interesting. That's important. So can we hear about volunteer opportunities? What kind of volunteering is there available, so that if people are listening right now and they think, wow, I would love to be a part of this. Well, how can I get involved?
Well, we have our general volunteer opportunities that are not in survivor services, also in Muscatine, and I guess I would like to start with those. The general volunteer opportunities do not require training. You do not have to apply and do the whole application process to be a volunteer. But some events that we have that would be general volunteering would be Fill the Truck. This takes place every June. We just had it on June 23rd at the Muscatine Hy-Vee. And Krieger's donates a truck every year, and we are at the doors accepting donations to serve our clients throughout the year. The donations we receive are both monetary and items that are purchased, household items and personal items that clients need throughout the year.
I see.
And all these donated items stay in Muscatine to serve the community. So that's one opportunity that reoccurs every year in June. We also have coming up is the Muscatine Block Party at Discovery Park on Friday, September 7th. That's from 5:30 to 7:30. People can volunteer to help serve and help arrange the party. I think they are meeting now to plan the block party.
Okay.
Also, there is the Halloween at the Y. Bring the kids. They can come and dress up. That's Friday, October 26th. There's activities, there's games, there's crafts. People can also volunteer to participate in that and to help with the kids. We have Adopt the Family for the holidays, where our clients that we have a list of items that they need for during the holiday season, and we have a wrapping party on December 11th at 5:30 to 8. And that's really fun for the kids, too.
Oh, yeah.
The family can come. These are things that families can participate in. And that's what's nice about the general volunteer opportunities. You can be family or friends.
Gotcha. And you know, I've done those those kind of wrapping parties before, where you get together and you wrap all the different presents for folks, and then we actually did the deliveries too, which I'm sure you guys do. That's a lot of fun to get to show up at somebody's door on near Christmas and get to hand out gifts like that. That's a lot of fun.
It's really rewarding, and that's what I would like to tell people about the volunteer program. When you put time back into your community, it's very rewarding. And you make an investment in your community, and you make a better community.
Absolutely. And now you mentioned, general volunteer. I saw in some of the stuff that you sent me beforehand that there's tiers of volunteering. Is that like tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3? Can you kind of explain that to me?
Yes, we divide that out just simply because there's different requirements. Tier 1, is all of the opportunities I just spoke about.
Okay.
They do not require an application. You just show up. You're guided by staff or another volunteer on the spot or a volunteer coordinator. You do not need prior training, nor do you need a background check. Tier 2 is going to be involvement with clients with staff supervision. And then Tier 3, you're able to work with clients as an advocate without staff supervision. Tier 3 folks are doing the exact work that staff is doing.
Gotcha.
They have background checks, and they're cleared, and they have training. In Iowa, on the Muscatine area, it is a 30-hour training, and we give the classes.
I see. So 30 hours of training. Now, is it, I almost said a one-day block, but 30 hours for a one-day block wouldn't really make sense. What is it like? Is it more like a week of training?
Well, the way we're doing it here in Muscatine at the Oregon Street location, it's 2 Saturdays in a row.
Okay.
We just completed one. We're going to have another 2 Saturday training starting in November 10th and November 17th. 13 hours of that training is done at your own home online.
Oh, okay.
And that's what's nice. It's really a time saver for people, and it's easier for people to schedule that. The training is given by professional staff, and when you are done with the training, you are certified to be an advocate for survivors with family resources for the clients we serve.
Okay, and that's really encouraging to hear you say that you guys do have an extensive amount of training that happens before that those volunteers can get involved, because you think about dealing with folks that have had these kind of circumstances where they are a survivor of something like that. You want to make sure that when you are helping them, you're well prepared to do so. So that's encouraging to hear you guys say that you do provide a good amount of training so that they are ready when it does come to that time to help those folks out. So, training times, there's training coming up soon?
Yes, the next training for survivor services in Muscatine will be November 10th and November 17th. Those are 2 Saturdays from 8:30 in the morning till 5 at the Oregon Street location. And what I'd like to tell people about the training is that it does prepare you. It's trauma-based, and if you have a willingness to work with people that are in the midst of their trauma or crises, and an understanding and to be empathetic with them. So the training prepares you to be compassionate, empathetic, as well as informed about trauma that people are going through, and how to respond to them in the way that's most helpful.
Exactly, I see, and that's just what I wanted. That's exactly what I want to hear. When I mentioned before what I said about offering that training, that's exactly what you would think need to happen so that they're best prepared to help folks through their situation. So wanted to take just a quick moment to remind you who's joining us here in the studio this morning. Bob Stone from Family Resources. He's telling us about what they do here in the community, and this part in Moving Forward brought to you by Comprehensive Rehab. It's located at the Plaza across from MP&W in Muscatine. Once again, thanks for joining us here for Moving Forward. Bob Stone joining us in the studio for Moving Forward. Bob, anything else that you really think that folks really ought to know about Family Resources when you work with survivor services, when you are working with folks, what's the one thing that comes to mind when you think about your time volunteering?
Well, the most important thing, at least for survivor services, that part of volunteering. Again, you're making an investment in your community. You're helping your community be more stable and really a happy community. People have had traumatic things happen to them, and you can be at the beginning of helping them down that road of recovery and to dealing with that in a way that they can put their lives back together. One example I wanted to give is with our domestic assault and our sexual assault, we have a hotline that is 24/7, and our volunteers sign up that have had the advocacy training to help with that, to go out on those calls for medical advocacy and for legal advocacy.
Okay. Okay. And you guys do any work with the domestic violence shelter here in Muscatine?
We do partner with them.
Gotcha.
If people are needing shelter, we refer them the clients to MCSA, and then also we try to give them every option. If there aren't any other options at the moment, we also have mobile housing. We can put them up in a hotel temporarily, and then we have a program called Rapid Rehousing, and we work with them to get them stable housing again as soon as possible.
Wow, that's really that's pretty incredible to help, because I've spoken with the domestic violence shelter on many occasions about just what it is that they do and what they've dealt with in the past. You know, what some folks' situations look like, and having the ability to, if they so choose, to get out and stay away and be able to work with you or the domestic violence shelter to find a safe place to be. That's incredible, because it's hard to imagine being in a situation where you have to be on the run from somebody, almost, it seems like. So being able to work with Family Resources or the domestic violence shelter is an incredible thing. We appreciate that you guys do have services like that, because it's really important, really, really important. Anything else that you really thought folks ought to know about Family Resources?
Well, one of the programs that we are expanding, and what I do want people to know, is that we are expanding more in Muscatine with our programs and our volunteer program. We have the program for Engaging Male Mentorship, where the youth at risk, usually ages 12 to 18, we have an adult male that needs to be at least 5 years older than them, helps role model for them, meets with them, tutors, takes them into the community, does social events, takes them maybe to the ballpark or somewhere. And they spend time with them, and the concept of that is to get these guys when they're young, so they grow up to respect women and to treat women respectfully, role modeling mostly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And male mentorship is an incredibly important thing. I know incredible single mothers that do a great job with their kids, but there's something about having that, especially for young men, to have a male role model, somebody to model themselves after, that they see how they, like you said, interact with women, treat them with respect, or just other aspects. You know, one thing is like knowing how to work hard, like something like that. That's really important. So that's really a cool program, male mentorship. Okay.
It is, because with the youth, especially the young males that are at risk, if we can raise them in a culture that opposes and does not fall into domestic violence, get them early. That is really, really important to help counter.
Absolutely. Well, Bob, thank you so much for coming and joining us, and we really appreciate what you guys do, and we appreciate you coming to tell us about it here in the studio.
Well, thank you for having us on the show.
Family Resources is a great service here in Muscatine. You guys serve other communities as well?
We do. We are in Jackson County, Loiza County, Cedar County, also Clinton, of course, Scott County as well. And we also are on the Illinois side with Rock Island County.
Okay. Well, so you guys have a wide coverage of.
We do,
and you provide a lot of services. So once again, thank you for what you do, and thank you for coming in and telling us about it.
You're welcome.
Once again, Bob Stone from Family Resources joining us here on Moving Forward as we discuss what it is that they do and everything that they do here in the community and other communities surrounding us. So once again, thanks to Bob and thanks to Family Resources for joining us here in the studios for Moving Forward, brought to you by Muscatine Power and Water. Experience the best value in entertainment and connectivity with Mocklink Internet and TV from MPNW. New subscribers save big even on TV or internet, and even more when you take both. Learn more at MPW.org. I'm Jordan Davis. Bob Stone joining us here in the studio this morning for Moving Forward on the voiceofmuscatine.com.